Welcome along to another episode of Mildly Informed with me, Richie Firth, him, Chris Skinner, here solely to inform you, but only in a mild fashion. Chris, how are you?
I'm great, Rich. I've had a lovely week. Today, we record on a Friday. The weather is fantastic. However, I appreciate, certainly for those in the UK, when you hear this, the weather is going to be absolute toss. And so I guess think back as you listen to this to your past self who on Friday was in a really good place and cherish that moment.
Yes.
It will come again in 6 months' time.
I kind of need it to come again a little bit more frequently because I've reseeded my lawn, and on next week's episode I've taken on a new role in another part of my life which needs good weather, so more about that.
I have a sneak preview of what this subject is going to be, and it's weird in podcasting throwing forward to something that hasn't happened yet, but I urge you to get in a time machine 7 days forward and listen to what Richie is going to talk about. It's great.
I hope it's going to bring joy to me. I hope entertainment to others.
But we're not here to talk about our future. We're here to mildly inform people as we review the 7 days gone. And I would love you to tell me something about that week.
Well, what a week it's been in the United Kingdom. If you're listening to this in the States, you're probably aware of it as well. There has been a state visit, a historic second state visit for President Donald J. Trump to the United Kingdom over the last few days. And what a spectacle it has been. And I've got quite a few observations to make about it, Chris. First of all, just to see where you are on it, your overall thought?
Overall thought on what specifically here?
The spectacle of a second visit of Trump to the United Kingdom and his time at Windsor Castle.
Anyone who has listened to our projects for a long period of time will probably know where my politics are.
Yes.
And politicians on the far right and the monarchy are not high up on my list of icons that I support.
Well, but maybe this last couple of days for you as well as me has been an education. We'll soon find out.
I hope I get something out of it. So yes, Rich, I am all ears.
So on the Wednesday morning, which was the first kind of proper day of the state visit, I actually had one of the news channels on at home whilst I was going around my business, finding it quite interesting just seeing everything that had been laid on. And my first big I've got 3 takeaways to make and one final observation. My first big takeaway was, in one point, I heard the US national anthem 4 times in only half an hour. And do you know what? No matter who you are, that's a lot of times to consume something.
Yeah, look, we're both from a music radio background. We know about heavy rotation of songs. That's too much.
Exactly.
I mean, other than the guys collecting PRS, no one wins there.
No, they don't. But then I thought a little bit more about our royal family. Now, because we were hosting President Trump, there was a lot more of the US anthem going on than the British one. But I did also hear the UK national anthem around about 3 times in that half an hour. And that's where I started thinking. And I started thinking about the king and how many times a day he must hear the national anthem. But then I also thought about it and thought, well, that's where he's different to a president of the States, because if you're born into the royal family, key thing, born into it, you hear that anthem all the way through your life. So I started doing some back of a fag packet calculations, Chris. Now, obviously, this is very much on average. But if the king across his lifetime hears the national anthem on average 3 times a day, that's around about 1,095 times a year. So give or take, so far in his lifetime, King Charles has heard the national anthem 84,315 times.
Wow.
You would have to hope that he likes it, because otherwise that national anthem is his Breakfast at Tiffany's by Deep Blue something.
This is absolutely awful. And I can relate to that because the amount of times I've heard Soda Pop from the K-pop Demon Hunters soundtrack over the last couple of months feels a comparison to that. And I'm like, I'm ready to cancel all my TV subscription channels. So he could start a war. He's the head of state. He must be
Exactly.
furious.
So, first observation, whether you're a president or a king, you get earworms.
On what you're saying, Rich, I think one of the interesting things about that national anthem you're saying is that for some of the king's life, that song, or for most of the king's life, that song has not been about him.
Correct.
But in recent years, it's explicitly been about him. I've just gone on Google while you were saying that. The average British monarch apparently is monarch for 17 to 22 years, according to Google. And the average English monarch lives 75 years.
Mm-hmm.
So they spend almost roughly a quarter of their lives, that song being about them, and 3/4 of their life it not being about them. And I don't know what's worse.
I'd say probably the bit about it not being about them, because if they know that it's going to be about them in time, every single time you're singing it for someone else, you're thinking, this is going to be mine. You'd have to be.
Yeah.
You'd have to be.
I always fear for the likes of Catherine Jenkins when they're singing it that they're going to slip up and say Queen. I still think that's going to come.
Hey, I have to hold up my hands up and say I'm still struggling to sing King. It's been Queen all my life, so that's by the by. My second observation about the state visit this week was actually the state banquet. I watched a time-lapse video of them preparing for the banquet in the Great Hall at Windsor Castle.
Okay. This I like.
Which was fascinating. Seeing all the place settings go out, seeing all the set squares come out to make sure that all of the place settings were the correct distance apart. It's quite some procedure, whether or not you think it's a grotesque display of opulence or not. However, you've got to set the place up. It's kind of like when you might have friends come over to stay. You've got to set the place up. Things are going to be a little bit different to what it's like when you've just got your normal family around about the place. And when they started this time-lapse video, I could clearly see that the tables down the side where all the food was on and everything was being set up, they were trestle tables. They were decorating tables. They were tables that they'd gone and got out of the garage. Now, by the time all the stuff's on it, it looks amazing. And that's normally what the TV cameras see, this amazing setup. But underneath it all, they were merely picnic trestle tables, very temporary things that are stored in a shed or a garage somewhere. Underneath everything, it's just normality.
So that's your... Actually, I'm trying to understand what your point is. Is your point that underneath all the facade, this is all just cheap and could crumble at any moment? Is that your point?
That's my point about the infrastructure of the state banquet.
The monarchy.
When you see the final display, there's gold, there's glittering, but underneath it all, it's a shambles. Okay?
Yeah.
My final observation, and then we draw towards my biggest observation of all. But my final observation was the Thursday morning when the Windsor Castle part of the state visit was over. And Trump was off to go and meet the Prime Minister. And I think it was around about 9:30, 9:45 in the morning. And Charles is there in his suit, basically ushering Trump out of the door into his helicopter. It's kind of like when you have people to stay. It's all very good, you know, the afternoon when they arrive and the evening and all that kind of stuff. When it comes to the morning after, you just want them out. You just want your house back. And that's exactly what was going on with King Charles.
I can totally imagine that. I mean, you would have just found, oh, sorry, I've got to go into work early today. I'm really sorry. Send my best. We'll be over. We'll come visit you. Bye.
Did you pick up your charger, or have you left that plugged in upstairs? I'll go get someone to go get it.
I'll leave the keys here. Just throw them back in the letterbox when you're gone.
So, Chris, let's pull this all together. All right. He hears the national anthem. He hears the national anthem a hell of a lot. So he gets an earworm just like us.
Yep.
Underneath all of the opulence, they were decorated temporary trestle tables, just like us in the shed or the garage. Come the next morning, like when we host people, it may well be the President of the United States, but he wants them out. They're just like us. Yeah. Chris, they're just like us.
You know what? That is so true. And it reminds me of that time when you came and crashed over at my place and someone projected a photo of you hanging out with Jeffrey Epstein on my house
Don't
wall.
start that rumor. I didn't visit the island. I'm not on the list.
Okay,
Chris.
so I don't know what you're reviewing here. Give me more.
I'm reviewing the state visit, and my observation is that, Chris, no matter what's going on, they're just like us. They're just people. Trump probably didn't have a good night's sleep in Windsor Castle because he's not at home. Charles wanted him out the next morning because it's his home. There's trestle tables underneath it all. They haven't got that many tables normally. He probably hears that national anthem a hell of a lot and can't stand it. They're just like us.
Okay. Well, there we go, everybody. The monarchy are just like us.
What have you seen this week?
I don't think Prince Charles, Donald Trump, or Keir Starmer are involved in it, although I would love to speculate on what is written on their top. But today, as we record, it is, I'm not sure the exact name, Band T-shirt Day, I think, where everyone goes to work in a band T-shirt. And to join in, I have done it today. A band called the Merry Wallopers, who I'm sure you're very familiar with.
It's very you, that.
I only have band T-shirts for two bands, and they are the Merry Wallopers and Kraftwerk.
Kraftwerk. That's what I was going to say. Okay. I know you well.
There you go. I've got about 5 Kraftwerk T-shirts, so I wore the one that isn't today. I'm really torn on this. Like live music, up and coming bands constantly talk about their struggle to be heard, which I think is why I went for a new band very much on the live circuit. Look, we all as a cultural community thrive with a great live music scene. Britain is a great exporter of live music, as is Ireland. And I don't know why I said it in that way. And I think, therefore, supporting live music, supporting the arts is generally a good thing. Something about putting the T-shirt on, something about looking myself in the mirror, something about looking in the screen at myself now with the band T-shirt on Band T-shirt Day gives me the ick. And I'm finding it hard to really put my finger on it. I don't know if it's like the try-hard nature of it. I don't know if it's the white, middle-aged, middle-class man vibe that it presents. It feels a bit desperate. I might, when we get to the end of this record, take my shirt off, is what I'm saying. Replace it, not just be shirtless for the rest of the day. Although no shirt day would also be, no, but maybe not in the office.
No.
So yeah, I'm struggling with it, Rich. I think it's a good thing. I think it's just me who's the bad thing here, but it gives me the ick.
A couple of thoughts. Band T-shirts that I've got. I used to have one. I used to have a Lemonhead one. That was very much back in the day. I've had a couple of Kasabian ones over my time. They're my favourite band. Do I wear them that often? No, not at all. When would I put a band T-shirt on these days? Probably to go and put out of the bin or from washing the car or something like that. Am I wearing one on Band T-shirt Day? No. And I think the reason why for me is this. First of all, generally the quality of brand T-shirts is shite. They hang off you like a duvet on a washing line. Secondly, the cost of them is really, really high.
Yeah.
Really, really high. You go to the gig and you're thinking, bloody hell, that much for that? No, I don't think
25 quid, mate.
Now, recently, I believe I reviewed it on an episode. I went to the Oasis Live in 25 tour. Now, they've hooked up with Adidas as a proper full-on tie-in for their merch for the tour. It's really, really high-grade stuff. It's also really expensive, but as it's Adidas, you kind of think, I might stretch at that. Yeah. But then, and here, this, I think, is what we're driving at. I looked at it and kind of thought, on the day when I saw people actually buying the T-shirts and in the stadium wearing them, I'm thinking, oh man, they look really, really cool. I might actually part with some money and get one of this. But then I thought to myself, but when am I actually going to wear this other than the day that I've gone to the gig? Because if I saw someone wearing this on another day, I would think, what a bell end. And I don't want to be that person myself. So I generally think that aside from the day of a gig, someone wearing a band T-shirt looks a fool.
Yeah, I'm sort of torn because I do like wearing a band T-shirt if I'm down the allotment or at the tip. I think they're good locations to wear a band T-shirt, maybe in bed.
Yes, agreed.
Never,
but other people wear
never
them
on a
as
night
more of a
out.
statement.
No, that's just not for me, really. Like, I would wear one at the gig. I'd literally whip my T-shirt off, replace it with a band T-shirt at a gig. I think that makes perfectly good sense. But I don't know, like, I think, you know what? I think maybe we're the bad guys here. I think we are negging on for what other people is a genuine moment of joy, but I just can't get. I think we're the problem, Rich. I don't think we're right. I think band T-shirts are great, and I think band T-shirt day is a wonderful idea, and I hate it. I think so. I think I'm in the wrong. I think that, and I think you are too.
Okay, I'm generally in the wrong, so I'm kind of used to that. So I'll walk with that.
Rich, we would not be doing this show if everyone thought you and I were always correct. We are literally doing a podcast that basically says we don't care what anybody else thinks. We're going to review stuff to give our own opinion on it because no one else is buying any of what we say.
Hopefully, they are buying a lot of what they're about to hear about now.
Oh, yeah. Except, of course, Rich, now we're back. All those patrons haven't been away at all. Patrons, arse donglers, our friends. Thank you so much for being a part of it. If you want to be a Patreon, where you get to be an arse dongler, where I will literally message you and offer to post you 2 Star bars, promise, become a Patreon. You'll get an extra program. You'll get the love of Richie and I, and maybe just like a sense that you're supporting the next band T-shirt that we buy.
Should you want to do that, mildlyinformedpod at patreon.com is where you would go to support us and indeed the Walloping Mary.
Close enough. Rich, tell me another exciting thing that's gone on in your life.
Chris, what are you drinking at the moment?
Water?
No. Just generally, if you're enjoying a nice little tipple in the evening, what's your drink of choice at the moment?
Okay, we're transitioning through the seasons now.
Mm.
So I tell you, lager is completely off the menu for me. So for me, it would be a nice pale ale or like a Guinness or equivalent, like a stout or a porter would be where I'm at. Maybe a glass of red on a Sunday.
I've started to start dabbling with the Guinness again. It is that time of year. It's not something I do in the spring or the summer. But when it gets to autumn, winter, that would be my drink of choice. And yes, like yourself, a red wine with lunch on a Sunday. Beautiful, lovely. Do you know whose fault this is?
What that you and I are both talking about alcohol?
Yes, and that we drink it.
I actually have a good idea because I think I've seen the same news story as you.
Monkeys,
not monkeys, but carry on.
It is the fault of the chimpanzee that that we like alcohol. It's been discovered that chimps drink the equivalent of a bottle of lager a day in ripe fermented fruit as they go scrumping off the floor of the jungle. Now, of course, that is what has been going on for years and years and years. We are descended from the chimpanzee, and that is why we as adults like alcohol. And that is also why chimpanzees are crazy, because they're going around every single day. Chris, they're drunk. That's why they go. If you go to a zoo or go to a monkey sanctuary or whatever, those things are absolutely mad, screeching around, chucking shit at each other. They're pissed. They're drinking a bottle of alcohol a day. It's the equivalent of 2 units a day.
I mean, I've got to say, you, after one whole 330 mils bottle of Beck's, you are also throwing your shit around. So maybe that is absolutely a fair comparison.
Isn't it fascinating? There's cause and effect for everything. And it is because of the chimpanzee that we have that taste for alcohol.
I find it so weird that we get told, don't eat overripe fruit. Don't eat overripe fruit. It will give you the shits. Whereas as far as chimpanzees are concerned, it's let's eat as much overripe fruit as we can because it will get us proper pissed. It's like, why can't we eat all this overripe fruit and instead of shitting ourselves, just get a little bit buzzy? Surely that would be the way to go.
If you want to get just a little bit scientific for a second, that overripe fruit produces the equivalent of ethanol that is in that amount of alcohol that we are talking about. It's a fascinating scientific discovery that has been found this week. It did then start me going down a little bit of a wormhole. Question I'd like to ask to you: if you were to go out for a night's drinking with an animal, what animal would you pick?
What a great question. I'm nothing rowdy, but if it's a night out in Romford, for example, I do want someone who can handle themselves.
Mm-hmm.
So I'm not going out with a fighter. I'm not going out with a chimp. I'm not going out with a honey badger, as much as I love honey badgers and they would defend me to the death, but they might also start a fight. I'm not going out with like a real looker. I'm not going out with like a deer. I want someone who is quiet, friendly, big, and scary.
Okay.
I'm getting pissed up with a rhino. Simple as that.
It's a very good shout.
What about you, Rich?
I think a lot of the metrics that you are choosing the animal from are similar to myself, but I go with a giraffe. Because I think that the giraffe is always going to get noticed at the bar, whereas the rest of the animals are there. A busy bar, the giraffe has the ability to stand taller than everyone else and also just put its neck right over the bar as well. So when you are the barman looking for which animal to serve next, it's always going to be the giraffe. Now, the second bonus of the giraffe is when you are a few sherbets in and everyone's a little bit giddy, that giraffe's going to be falling over and it's going to look so funny drunk. Look at that giraffe trying to get up. It's going to be so funny.
Wow. Yeah, look, I think a giraffe is a good shout. Giraffes are quite scary. I am lucky enough to have seen a giraffe in the wild. And they have quite a cutesy reputation, don't they?
Yeah.
You see a bull, I assume they call the men a bull, a big, big giraffe stood in front of you in the wild. Is like, you better hope that giraffe is not drunk and ready for a fight because they're
not aggressive, are they?
No, they'll protect their territory around their family.
How? If I'm there bothering giraffes, how is a big giraffe going to hurt me?
I urge you, the viewer and listener, to go online now and Google two giraffes fighting each other. It is phenomenal. They fight. They use their whole necks like a whip, and they absolutely just smash each other like neck and head into each other.
Wow.
It's amazing. I mean, it's scary. Watch it. Pause this show now. Go do it, then come back.
Wow, that is amazing. Drunk giraffes, I'd go out drinking with one. I wouldn't go out drinking with two. Fighting each other with those whipping necks. What a thought.
Well, I'm not quite sure how we got... Oh, yes, I remember how we got onto this now. You were talking about chimpanzees being drunk and the influence on our lives. Again, interesting. And I do find this often with you, Rich. Sometimes you say something that's really interesting that does get to a point of review, but I don't actually understand what it is you're going to review at any point in the story that you're telling.
I am going to review the monkey as a 5-star animal because it's given us alcohol and shits and giggles. And for that, we need to be more grateful than we were ever aware before. This scientific discovery this week about the amount of alcohol that monkeys consume and that gift that they've given to us over evolution is incredible. 5 stars, thank you.
Great to have an animal review back. I absolutely love that. I always enjoy it when we review animals. I was not expecting you to review a monkey, given that the story was entirely about a chimpanzee, which is not a monkey.
Oh, well, they're all the same.
Right. Okay. Okay. Well, don't let the woke chimpanzee police get onto you with that.
um, Chris, tell us what else have you observed this week that you'd love to inform us about?
This is a kind of a review of two things that build to a third thing. It's a very, very exciting week for me in terms of TV. Um, you and I both love getting into a good box set TV show. You've talked about how you love to binge a show. You don't believe the way I binge shows is binging, but we both love a good high end TV drama, don't we?
We do indeed.
We love the action, we love the drama, we love the suspense. This week, Rich, I am at a point where have just one episode to go on two different shows. I've sort of worked through them over the last week. One I watch on my own, one I watch with Laura. And I think the moment before the end of the series is often the most exciting bit because, 50% of the time, the final episode can be a bit disappointing. So I'm now at the point of like peak suspense, peak excitement, peak anticipation of what is going to happen next. These two shows, Rich, very, very different shows. The show I'm watching with my wife is The Girlfriend. This stars Robin Wright and is directed by Robin Wright, her of Forrest Gump and House of Cards. And it's about there's a man in the middle, and there is the very, very acrimonious relationship on one side between his mother and one side his girlfriend. It is psychotic. It is genuinely a psychotic. And you get the show split in two halves where you get the perspective of one and the perspective of the other. And you'll sometimes get the same scene twice from each of their perspectives, and it's radically different. It's so good. It's really, really, really exciting stuff. Shit has gone down. Like I don't want to give anything away other than I'm not, when I hear there's a show called The Girlfriend and it's about relationships, I'm like, nah.
Mm-hmm.
This is outstanding. This is genuinely like mad bastard territory, and I'm all for it. The other show, Alien Earth.
That's one you're watching on your own, right?
Yep, it is. Great story, beautiful, high sci-fi horror drama, super icky. I tell you how good Alien Earth is. Everyone knows like the alien xenomorph, one of the like scariest cinematic creations of all time. Like so many people would list the alien from the Alien movies, the xenomorph, as like the scariest like movie baddie, movie horror character of all time. It's right up there. Yet this show has managed to introduce a couple of other aliens into it as well, giving nothing away. In their own way, I actually fear them more on screen than the alien itself. And that is pretty good going because I'm not that. Don't get me wrong. The aliens are hard bastard, but everybody else in it, all the other little icky things, particularly there's one which I think they call the eye midge. I'll give nothing more away than that. Man, that's a scary, scary baddie, and I'm going to watch both this weekend, and I'm so excited about it.
That period in the cycle of watching a TV show is always a biggie. Say, for example, it's a season of 10 episodes. Episode 9 is always massive, always massive. And then there's an inherent pressure on episode 10 because it's the last one in an episode to deliver because 9 has been so epic. And sometimes, and I hope this isn't the case for you over the weekend, I find that those final episodes can be incredibly anticlimactic because what they're actually trying to do is not solve the story because the story's been done in episode 9. What they're trying to do is almost stimulate. It's almost sort of like a TV exec foreplay to say, give me another season. It's kind of like, look, all this stuff to set up. Give us more money, another season. And as a result, for the viewer, shite.
I believe Game of Thrones deliberately always made episode 9 the most dramatic. Like the most explosive episode tended to be the the second last episode.
For
And then
example,
they mocked
the
up.
Red Wedding is one of those episodes in Game of Thrones. If you're familiar with that, it's not the end of a season.
Yeah. So that said, Rich, I'm still super excited. I appreciate the jeopardy. I do. And look, I know we could talk next week and I could be really grumpy. I could be like really annoyed that I put myself through all these hours of TV for bad payoff. But
Can I call it? I think The Girlfriend is going to have a better season finale than your Alien Ant Farm thing, whatever that was called.
I think you might be right. The reason being, I don't know if The Girlfriend there could ever be a second season. The way
That's
it's going.
my point. That's my point. It's got to be resolved. Whereas the Alien thing, that's got franchise money, figurines written all over it.
Yeah, I fear you're right. I will report back. I would welcome anyone else's opinions on both those programs too, and I'd love to know someone who's enjoying both.
Speaking of opinions, if you have yours on anything that we're discussing, we would love to hear it. You can email us, mildlyinformedpod@gmail.com, or use our socials, @Producer Chris, @Richie Firth. Or, of course, if you're watching this on our YouTube channel, comment live as you're watching. And those comments will be there for other people to read at the moment that you were reacting to them. Chris, to review the concept of approaching the end of a TV show, how many stars are you giving it?
There's nothing better in TV than being at this height of excitement. This is what TV does at its best. If you cannot give a 5-star review to TV at its most finger-tingling, exciting best, then you don't like TV. 5 stars. What are you going to do? Just watch like the national anthem play out 4 times on the news? Who'd do that?
That's what Charles does. They're just like us.
Is it me now to come back after the break? Welcome back, everybody.
It is, because I'd like you to ask me what else I would like to review from my week.
Rich, I'd like to ask you in response to what you just said there, what else you've done this week that you feel is valuable and notable to talk about in this show, please.
Flapjacks.
This is very, very good. I can't believe you didn't lead on this. We have a podcast history talking about flapjacks. Tango and Flapjack was probably like one of the biggest spin-off conversations from Travel Hacker. You have my undivided attention.
Chris, I'd have to say that my biggest regret about my childhood is not embracing flapjacks earlier. I had a lot of aunties growing up, but I had at least 3 that I know anecdotally made incredible flapjacks. But the thing is, as a kid, I didn't eat flapjack. And now flapjack is my go-to snack. Oh my God, I love flapjacks. And it's my biggest regret as a child that I passed by so many fantastic homemade flapjacks that I was told were amazing. What I have to say right now, and I do believe I've probably said this already in podcast form, is that you will not find a better flapjack anywhere in the United Kingdom than the Marks and Spencer's Belgian chocolate flapjack. Last night, I'd had a few drinks. I was on a late train home. The platform wasn't up. And as ever, I end up just going into Marks and Spencer's Simply Food, trying to find the flapjacks to eat in a gross manner on the train on the way home. Yeah, you were there. You obviously saw it. But here's a really weird thing, right? The British Heart Foundation say that the flapjack is one of our biggest healthy snack mistakes that we make in the United Kingdom. Did you realise that?
As in, it is healthy or it's not?
This is the thing. We think it's healthy because of all the oats in there, but it's actually not. It's one of the 10 biggest snack mistakes that we make, thinking that it's healthy.
I've made flapjacks many times. I don't know if you have. I think having made flapjacks and known the copious amounts of sugar, treacle, honey, chocolate, and butter, oats that have gone into oats. Okay, I'm oat neutral on whether they're healthy or not. You would be under no illusion as to whether flapjack counts as a healthy snack or not. Now, healthy is a hard to define category. For example, I would argue if you or I were out on one of our bike rides, you're out on a long run, the nutritional value of the flapjack, the sugar and the calories to help you get round, that's healthy, mate. That is good,
Absolutely.
quickly digestible, excellent calories. If you've gobbled back 4 pints after work and are then chowing back 3 M&S flapjacks on the train home, different kettle of onions.
I agree with you. I think if you actually made flapjacks from start, you know how unhealthy they are. If you're just a consumer of flapjacks, you might be thinking they're healthy, but they actually contain the same amount of calories, if not more, than a standard chocolate bar. I know a lot of people are screaming out to know, okay, if that's one of the 10, what are the other 9 healthy snack mistakes? Well, I've got them ready for you. Coconut yogurt. It's a popular substitute for dairy yogurt, but it's not necessarily a healthy option. Contains even more saturated fat. Vegan chocolate truffles. Just because it's labeled vegan doesn't mean it's a healthy choice. Vegan chocolate as high in sugar as others. Banana chips, Christopher.
Yeah, what, because they're sugary?
Rather than being dried, banana chips are actually cooked in saturated fats like palm or coconut oil and normally have sugar added. So look for dried banana pieces instead. Sugar-free chocolate. Once again, just because the sugar has been removed doesn't mean it's low in calories. Once again, got more saturated fat than your standard chocolate. We're into the top 5, gluten-free biscuits and cakes. Sure, the gluten's removed, but to actually make it tasty instead, there's other stuff gone in. Yes, hello again, sugars and saturated fat. Root vegetable crisps. They might look more wholesome than potato crisps, but the amount of fat, salt and calories, very little difference between these and standard crisps. We're into the top 3 now, lentil crisps. Now, you should be eating more pulses and lentils, but make your own baked chickpea snacks instead of doing that, because actually still got all that salt and fat in there as well. Salted nuts. Nuts, if they're plain and unsalted, good snack. But the salted vibe, not good for you. But the number 1 healthy snack mistake that we're making, yogurt-coated raisins. Just have the raisins. Why yogurt-coated raisins are even a thing? It's adding more weight because of the sugar and the fat and all that kind of stuff. Just raisins on their own.
Other than flapjacks, Rich, I'm delighted to say I eat none of those things. Do you?
You are a machine that cycles into the back of vans, and why should any of us be surprised by that?
I Googled a horrific fact whilst you were going through that list, Rich. And I'm not saying you should switch what you eat at all. I'm really, really not. But apparently there are fewer calories in a standard McDonald's cheeseburger than one of those M&S flapjacks.
Wow, that is a horrific fact.
This is only a very quick Google search on the internet. I'm very happy to be proved wrong, but I can believe it.
Do you know what? There was one other thing that I found in preparations for today's episode. You think that the internet's got the answers for everything, and increasingly more so with the ability to use AI. I did a Google search to ask how much flapjack does the UK consume, and it came back by saying there is no discernible figure as to the quantity of how much flapjack the UK consumes. There is no research out there whatsoever. Now, this says to me it's a cover-up because they know it's actually unhealthy for us.
This is Big Flapjack being a malevolent force on British culture once again, and we will expose them on this show.
Always the big issues, always the big questions. To review Flapjack, It's got to be 5 stars. It will only ever be 5 stars.
Yes.
And the M&S Belgian chocolate Flapjack, even though there's more calories in it than a standard McDonald's cheeseburger, you won't find a better snack, particularly if you've had a few bevies on a Thursday night and you're making your way home from Liverpool Street Station.
I'm not saying anything else this show.
You will on Patreon, but you're quite right. He's even, if you're watching on YouTube, he's looking away from the camera. He's not engaging. We'd love to engage with you over on Patreon, where there is bonus content, bonus reviews to be had, mildly informed pod at patreon.com. But in your usual channels, that is it from us. We'll see you next episode when I'll tell you what I'm about to go and do with white paint. Christopher, I'll see you on Patreon.